Thirugnanasambanthar சுவாமிகளுடைய குரு பூஜை தினமாக எங்களுடைய வருடம் ஆரம்பித்திருக்கின்ற குரு பூஜை வழிபாடுகளிலே ஞானசம்பந்தருடைய குரு பூஜை தினம் இரண்டாவது நாயனாராக இன்றைய தினம் அமைந்திருக்கிறது. கும்பாபிஷேகத்திற்கு பின்பு முதலாவது திருநாவுக்கரசருடைய குரு பூஜை இடம்பெற்றது. அந்த வகையிலே முதல்கள் விநாயகப் பெருமானினதும் திருஞானசம்பந்தமூர்த்தி சுவாமிகளினதும் திருவருள் கிடைக்க பிரார்த்தித்து இந்த குரு பூஜை தினமானது பன்னிசை பயிலுகின்ற மாணவர்களுக்கும் அல்லது பன்னிசையிலே ஈடுபாடு கொண்ட அடியவர்களுக்கும் ஒரு வாய்ப்பாக அமைந்திருக்கின்றது என்பதில் எந்த விதமான சந்தேகமும் இல்லை. தொடர்ந்து இனிவரும் காலங்களிலும் நடைபெற இருக்கின்ற குரு பூஜைகளிலே அடியார்கள் சிரத்தையுடன் கடந்து திருமுறைகளுடைய சிறப்புகளை தெரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும், அறிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்பதனை இந்த நேரத்திலே கூறிக்கொண்டு இன்றைய தினமும் திருஞானசம்பந்த மூர்த்தி நாயனாருடைய வரலாற்று நிகழ்வுகளும் அவருடைய வரலாறும் அவரால் பாடப்பெற்ற பதியங்களும் இங்கே மேற்கொண்டு நடைபெற இருக்கின்றது. திருவாளர் சிவகுமாரன் அவர்கள் ஞானசம்பந்தருடைய வரலாற்று நிகழ்ச்சிகளையும் பன்னிசை மாணவர்கள் அவர் பாடிய பண்களையும் அந்தந்த இடத்திலே பாடி ஞானசம்பந்தருடைய பெருமைகளை இங்கே கூறுவார்கள் என்பதை அடியார்கள் அனைவருக்கும் அன்புடன் அறிவித்திருக்கின்றோம். பார்வதி பதையே
செந்தாமரைக்கும் பாதச்சிலம்பு பதை இசைப்பார். Ladies and gentlemen, just as we did last time, I have been asked to say a few words in English. I approached this task with some apprehension, some trepidation, for two reasons. One is that I don't have much knowledge on this subject, yet I have, within quotes, volunteered to do this for the Wimbledon group. Secondly, Gnanasambandha Peruman repeatedly emphasizes the importance of Tamil, and in a sense I am not entirely happy that we are doing this in English, but yet there are so many of you here, particularly the youngsters, and I see there is a slightly increasing number of youngsters, which is most welcome, are not so proficient in Tamil. Therefore, rather than us going on in high-flown Tamil, it may be important to highlight some of the principles of Gnanasambandha Peruman's life and the stories behind it, particularly the stories behind the hymns that we heard sung and we are going to sing in a few minutes. It might be useful to spend some time on this, and I assure you I won't take very long, and I try to conclude this at least by 9:30. I hope you will bear with us. I want to initially express my sincere thanks to Mrs. Ratnasingam, Dr. Maheshwaran and Geeta Maheshwaran, and all the management committee of the Wimbledon Temple for having started this process of celebrating the lives of Myanmar, which is so important in Saivism. And additional thanks to my colleagues in the Thevaram group who are an immense support to me. But more than anything, it is important for us to express our greatest gratitude to Pannisai Peravanyar Swami Andavani Ulava, who has so painstakingly and patiently put up with all our misgivings, all our faults, and encouraged us to persevere with this task. Not only here, and many of you have been fortunate to go with him to Chennai and sing, which is a wonderful thing. And I hope this will continue, and I hope the youngsters will take over and continue this rich tradition. In terms of Thurkkai, it is important for me to emphasize one thing, and thanks to Mr. Eelaptheeswara who prompted this. Thurkkai strictly is something that Thirugnanasambanthar sang. And when it comes to Thirugnanasambanthar, his hymns, I called it songs last time, it is actually called Thurkkai. And I will explain why in a few minutes. So we are going to actually concentrate on Thirugnanasambanthar Thurkkai. That's the first thing that we need to register in our minds. Altogether, there were thousands of Thurkkai songs and various other songs which have been classified into the Pandira Tirumuri, but Nambiyaga Nambi. Altogether, there were thousands of songs, but not every song was discovered. And I think in terms of what we call Thurkkai, there are about 800 that have been discovered, of which at least 383 have been by Saint Gnanasambanthar, Thurkkai. And in the classification, the first three of the Pandira Tirumuri have been attributed to Thirugnanasambanthar. Now there are some special features when it comes to Thirugnanasambandar's Thurkkai. Firstly, they are grouped, usually these devotional hymns have been grouped into 10 and they are called padikams. But this is a special feature as far as Thirugnanasambanthar is concerned. There is an additional 11th Thurkkai. When you see that, actually that is the Thurkkai. Altogether in the padikam, there are not 10 but 11. That is unique to Thirugnanasambanthar. And as I said, the emphasis is on Tamil, and not only is the emphasis on Tamil, the emphasis on Isai Tamil, because he was very fond of music and there is more vocabulary in it. So, Thirugnanasambanthar emphasized the importance of singing in Tamil the devotion to Lord Shiva. And there is a certain structure in his padikams. The 8th Thurkkai is attributed to Ravana. He touches on Ravana, the king from Sri Lanka. On the 9th one, he talks about the discovery or the failure to discover Lord Shiva's crest and his feet. The story of Thiruvannamalai. Murugan Murugan Malai. In Thiruvannamalai, we come across that. And he touches on this aspect in every padikam in his 9th song. And in the 10th song, he, if I can put it lightly, ridicules the Shamana and the Buddha. Problems for Saivite worship. So he was unhappy with it, and I'll explain more as to why. And then he touches on that, and then finally he concludes as to why it is important to sing these songs and what is the benefit of music. And this is probably the time to introduce somebody else into this story. It was Thirugnanasambanthar. He used to play an instrument called the yai. So it was a superb combination that when someone that would sing, Thirugnanasambanthar would play that on his yai. and together that formed pristine music. So for a while, there was some members of the public were thinking, well, it's probably Thirugnanasambanthar instrumental music that is making all this very popular. But someone then sang a song in a pun called Yard movie, and he couldn't keep pace with that. And I think that was sung earlier today. You sang it. Sorry, I was late. Right, let us move to the southeast coast of South India and move to the village of Shree. Now, Shree is a village where Gnanasambandhar was born to Sivapada Hridaya, the one who constantly holds Lord Shiva's feet in his heart, Sivapada Hridaya, and Bhagavati Ammayar, his mother. They were great Shiva Bhaktas, and they used to yearn for a son who will be a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And what happened? True, Gnanasambandhar was born. And it was customary for Gnanasambandhar to go with his father to the temple tank in Sri. Every temple has a tank where people go and have an ablution and then go to the temple. So they cleanse themselves, they cleanse their exterior, they cleanse their body, so that they can go with a pure heart and then worship Lord Shiva. So this used to happen very regularly. And true to form, one day, Gnanasambandhar, he was only 3 years old then. I think our young friend here might remind us of him. So he was about 3 years old. There he is. So he went with his father, and the father dipped into the water and was saying some mantras. In that split second, Gnanasambandhar suddenly got very upset and worried that he is missing his father, and cried, "Amma, Appa." Lord Shiva and Parvati were watching this, and they couldn't bear to see this young Sambandhar cry. And what Parvati, what she does is, she collects some milk in a little container, a little vessel, and comes and feeds Thirugnanasambanthar. And he stops crying. They disappear. And the father comes back and looks at him. There is milk trickling down from the edges of his mouth onto his chin. He got very upset. Who has been doing this? He scolded the little child. And the child just pointed to the tower in Sri and then began to sing.
Mati Suri
Thodudeyasaviyan, the one who has the thodu, the earring, it is here. Now that's important to note because in true Tamil, I understand that it is the women who wear thodu and the man wears kurai. But he says Thodudeyasaviyan. So he saw the Ammayapanudeya, Ammanudeya aspect. He saw Parvati. Thodudeyasaviyan. Vidai Eriyo. You remember? Ettayadiki. Thodudeyasaviyan. Vidai Eriyo. You know, he came on his vehicle, the boat. Vidai Eriyo. Thuvan Madisudi. Pure moon on his quest. Thuvan Madisudi. Kadudeya Sudalai Pudikusi. His body is smeared with the ashes from the cremation ground. Now, what does that tell us? Cremation ground is where everything is reduced to nothingness. You come with nothing, you go with nothing. And there he is dancing on the cremation ground, besmeared his body with the ash from the cremation ground. Thodudeyasaviyan, Vinayagar, Thuvan Madisudi, Kadudeya Sudalai Pudikusi, and Ullam Kavarkallan. He is the one who stole my heart. And Ullam Kavarkallan. Erudeya Malaran, Munainal Padindu, Eta Aruseida, Pooja Brahmapuravia, Perman. Now, there are two interpretations to this. Some people say, Erudeya Malaran. Malaran, Munainal. In my previous births, I have been praying to Lord Brahma. In Brahmapuram, I have been praying to Lord Shiva there. And as a result of this, I have been blessed with this male pieces. But some people, particularly based on the fact that it's called Brahmapuram, say that in that pilgrimage center, it was Lord Brahma who has been worshipping Lord Shiva. But be that as it may, what we are concerned here is that he was then fed with this Nanapal by Umayamai. And then from that time, Sambandhar became Gnanasambandhar because that was Nanapal. Imagine a 3.5-year-old child spontaneously singing the praises and then thereon following it up with hundreds of verses on Lord Shiva. Now there is another interesting point. Although he showed the Tamara, there is a certain proximity that he refers to because he constantly in all those verses he says Perman Ivan Andre. So he is referring to, although they are not visible to everybody, he can perhaps see them close by. He goes on to sing 10 and the 11th one, I don't know.
Marugaliya Marivalla Muliyagan Poigai Alarmeya Perunariya Viramapuram Viya Ammani Kandannai Olunariya Manamai Perunariya Brahmapuramavia Brahman Ivandannai Udunariya Manambaittura is a singularity of purpose. There is no point going to temples and thinking of so many other things. It has to be concentrated, focused meditation on Lord Shiva. That's what it says. Udunariya Manambaittu Unar Gnanasambandhan together with that sort of concentration. Sing. What should you sing? Gnanasambanthar urai seida Thirunavaliya Tamil Vallavar Tholvinai Thirgal Elidame. If you are able to do that, then all the karma, all your past misdeeds and what you are suffering will disappear. That is the message of Gnanasambanthar. And this is the message that all our great souls have told us. Abhya, for example, it says, remove all my, we come to this world with a baggage, don't we? And it's important for us in this world not to add to that baggage so that we will continue this cycle of births to suffer. Or, if you take Manivasara in Namachivaya Varta, he says, Sivan Sinda Yudendra Adana, Avanarale, Avandan Parangi, Sinda Mahada Shivapuranam Tanai, Mandaya Viremudu, Oya Varatanya. So we are doing all this, the great souls say, so that people like yourselves, like ourselves, can sing these songs with a concentrated mind, focused on the Lord, so that we can at least prevent the ill effects of these past misdeeds and karma. So we go back to Thirugnanasambanthar. Now he is Sambandhar, became Gnanasambanthar, and out of respect we call him Thirugnanasambanthar. And at many places, the hagiographer Sherkula, who wrote the history of all these saints, refers to him as Sivan. We sang earlier, Vedanadi Tanaithonga, Nigi Saiva Thuraivuranga. One aspect, the superb aspects of the Vedas and the greatness of the Saivism. Pooja Parampara Ivariya, for the welfare of these people in this world, ordinary beings. Punidavai Malanda Alda, his holy mouth, he began to cry. Punidavai Malanda Alda, he cried, Amma, Amma. Sidavala Vayat Puhari, Thirugnana Puhari is another name for Sri Hari. Sidavala Vayat Puhari, Thirugnanasambanthar. When they describe these great saints, they also describe the background, they give a little bit of the nature. If you recall, Thiruperanturai, Seethithar Kamalantha, Anuvaya Sool, Thiruperanturai Urai, Sivaperumane, Thiruperanturai, Manikavasa. So when they sing, they also include aspects of nature. So these pantries, which are full of paddy, rice, and also beautiful flowers, as we shall see later. Sidavala Vayat Puhari, Thirugnanasambanthar, Padavana Karekkondu Thiruthundu Paravam. So this was the request that Sherkula. Right, I said there are names for Sri Hari. One was Brahmapuram, Dharmapuram, Puhari, Thonipuram, Karamala, and so on. There are 12 names according to Kramamandavarya's writings. And another word for Sri Hari, I am mentioning this because we come across these words in the different Thurkkai Kaudiya, because he was from the Kaudiya Gotra, that is his Gotra. And it's interesting that on Thiruvadara Day, that was the day Lord Nadarajar danced. Samadharayana was born. And it's the same day, 3 years later, that he was fed with milk. And interestingly, Periyapurana was begun on Thiruvadara Day and completed for India on Thiruvadara Day. It's just a coincidence. So we sang 2 songs from the first Padidam, Thurkkai. And I just want to highlight one other, the 5th song in that Padidam refers to something that we experienced a few years ago. Many people spoke about it, but But Thirugnanasambanthar recalls, it's an interesting Urumai, Anmai, Udayan, Sadayan, Udai Urum Ivanenna, Armiyaga Uraisai, Amardu, Enadu Ullam Kavakallam, Karumai Kadal Kulla Midandana Urkava. That's interesting. It was possibly a tsunami. Those of us who saw this will recognize what it means. It was actually absolutely black, the water. And it came as a deluge. And as you know, lifted many towns. And the legend is that Sivan and Parvati were floating as Shree was submerged by all this and deluged by all this and taken up, and they were floating. And it was like a boat. And from that, the word Thurkkai came, and the god there is known as Thurkkai. So, after singing this Padikam, Lord Sambanthar goes on his journey. Now he's tiny, isn't it? 3.5 years. And he goes on his father's shoulders. And he goes to a shrine called Thurkkai. And what does he get? Because Lord Shiva is so enjoying his music and his singing, Lord Shiva suddenly presents him with symbols, Thara. Not only Thara, but on the Thara, Nama Shivaya was inscribed. So, Sundaramurti Nana, who came many years later, praises that. Nadum, Innisayal, Tamil Parappum, Gnanasambanthakku, Ulagavarkum, Thalam Indavan, Padanakku Irankum Tanmayana. So Siva melts for Gnanasambanthak's musical songs. That's what Sundaramurti Nayana is describing here. And that's when he sang Madagil Vada in Thurkkai. Now, Lord Shiva had a great affection for his child prodigy. Not only did he present him with 2 symbols to help him play the Tara without hurting his hands, but also he offered many other facilities, as I can call it. One was the palanquin, because the father was carrying him. Obviously the child is growing a little bit, so he can't be carrying him all the way to all these shrines, because they were constantly on pilgrimages. So, pallak, not an ordinary pallak, Muthumari, studded with pearls. And also the canopy, in case there is too much sun and too much rain, there's a beautiful canopy. So he was provided with all this by Lord Shiva to make him comfortable, perhaps so that he could go and sing at various shrines. Now, I don't intend to cover every aspect of Thirugnanasambanth's life, because there were so many miracles he did, but we want to move to another important stage. He was going to on a pilgrimage to a shrine called Thirugnanasambanthar. And as usual, he goes for his religious observances there. But what happens on this journey is that he is hearing the wailing of a young woman in the shrine. And he forgot everything and he wanted to know what was happening, and then he went to her. And then she tells a story. What had happened, apparently, and this is the background to the story, she is the 7th child in the family, and her father fixes up marriage, and what he does is then somebody comes with more money and then he'll get the daughter
And this girl thought the same fate will befall her. And what she did was, she eloped. She eloped with a young man from the village who she liked. And they come towards the temple, Thirugnanasambanthar, to get married. Unfortunately, he gets bitten by a snake and he dies. And this girl was questioned. After all, they came to get married and see what has happened. And when Ghanasambanthar came, she is telling him the story. And she is saying, look, because we haven't actually got married, I didn't even touch him. I couldn't touch him. But see, the snake has been able to touch his body. And she is wailing. And then Thirugnanasambanthar took pity on her and wanted to revive the dead man. And he sang, Thirugnanasambanthar is actually pleading to Lord Shiva and Thirugnanasambanthar on behalf of this young lady who has lost her person who she is going to marry. Sadaya Yelama. So she's saying that you have the coiffure, the hair. Sarani Yelama. I surrendered to you. She's saying this, he sings on her behalf. Vidaya Yelama. Thorudiya Sabiyan, Vidaya Yor, the one who writes on the book. Vidaya Yelama. Veruva Yelama. She is in fright. She is falling on the floor. Madayar Kuvalai, not Kuvalai Malar, in the Madayar Kuvalai, Malarum Marathal, in Thirugnanasambanthar, in the fields. The Kuvalai flowers are there. I told you there is an aspect of nature, the beauty is incorporated into these terms. Udayar Kahumo, he is asking the question, is this proper? Is this just? What has she done? Why does she deserve this? He is pleading with Lord Shiva. Ival ul merive, the sorrow, ul merive. She is grief-stricken, the sorrow in her mind, the sadness in her mind. Why should she suffer this? Is this fair? He asks. The beauty of these Nayanar is that they had the confidence to ask these questions we saw last time about Thirugnanasambanthar. But here, interestingly, Ghanasambanthar, I just want to touch on another song. He sings, Iduvo ame aadum, aadumaru ivadu ondru emakkillaye, aduvo un innarul avaduthurai arane. In Thiruvavaduthurai, he asks the question. So these Nayanar, interested in our welfare, sang on our behalf. And in a sense, if I can put it this way, challenged Lord Shiva to help. So, I thought, and it's interesting that song in Thiruvavaduthurai, normally all these Thirukkai has 4 lines.
But in this particular Padikam, in Thiruvaruthai, there is something called Naladi Vel Vaippu, because he adds these two lines after every song. Iduvo ame aalamaru, ivadu ondru emakku illaye, adupo unadu innarul avada thurai arane, the one who is in Thiruvaruthai, look, is this your compassion? Is this the way you are going to help us? He asks on our behalf. What happens then is they go to another shrine called Thirumarakadi. You might have heard this story. The Thirumarakadi is Vedaranya. Aranya, you will remember from Kamaramayana, Aranya is forest. Aranya Kanda. So Thirumarakadi, all the Vedas have been locked up. They are apparently praying inside, but the doors are closed and ordinary people are unable to go there. So Thirugnanasambanthar and Sambanthar jointly visited the temple, and Thirugnanasambanthar sang a song, and the temple doors opened and everybody was able to pray. And then they felt that it was important to close the doors back, and then Thirugnanasambanthar sang a song and the doors closed. So why I'm bringing that here is that from there they get an invitation to go to Madurai. And what is happening in Madurai? There was a Pandya called Poon Pandya, because he had a hunch. You remember Poon again in Kamaramayana with a big hunch. Now, that Poon was very naughty, wasn't she? But here, this Poon Pandya was very gullible. And what happened was the Shamana and the Shakya, they were able to influence him and then get him to punish the Saivite people. Fortunately, his wife, called Mangira Karsila, and the chief minister, Kulacharya, they had the presence of mind to believe that Saivam will be restored back in Madurai. And they invited Thirugnanasambanthar to come to Madurai and restore Saivaism. Now people might wonder why there was such anti-Jain feeling and anti-Buddhist feeling. Was there so much religious intolerance? Are we still advocating that kind of intolerance of other religions? After all, they're all peace loving. But what had happened there, I think it's important to see that in context. Otherwise, it's liable to be misunderstood. Because these people, we heard about last time, we heard about the things that they did to Thirugnanasambanthar, putting him in the lime kiln, throwing him into the same time to a storm. Similarly, they did some very bad things to the Saivites, and including Thirugnanasambanthar. Because Thirugnanasambanthar was living in a madam, and what these people did is they set fire to the madam. And the madam started burning, but Thirugnanasambanthar was unhurt. And then he comes away and he sings a song where he says, he asks the fire to go back and destroy these people. But he says, do it gently. And he uses the word Payyavesan. That is, do it very gently, do it slowly. And what happens to Poon Pandya, he is afflicted by an illness, it's called Vappulo. His body was burning. And no amount of treatments by the Shamana was able to help him. So the only hope they had was to invite Thirugnanasambanthar and effect a cure. You will remember what we studied last time. Peyayam Karali Mahalakshmi Mane, Virivila Hariyakkara, Mandiramun, Tandiramun, Valakumahi, Tira, Noitane, Thurkkai Vadanam. So, similarly, here she pleads, just like Gnanasambanthar was able to bring back that person who had died in Thiruvananthapuram. She pleads, I want cured, my husband cured, and I want Saivaisam restored in Madurai. As he was about to leave for Madurai, Thirugnanasambanthar, who was with him, gets worried. He knows the atrocities that Shamanar can commit. And he advises Gnanasambanthar, please don't go, it's a dangerous place, they will do very bad things to you, they will hurt you. And the young mind, perhaps this is the reason behind the proverb, Gnanasambanthar said no. And he sang, wholeheartedly. He finishes the last song. Gnanasambanthar sometimes is very, he proclaims that if you sing these songs properly, then nothing will affect you. And not only these Nadam, Kodum, all the other bad influences, Kodari, Uluvayodu, Kolai, Yanai, Kerdal, Kodun, Abavodu, Karagi, Adari, Nalla Nalla, Avai Nalla Nalla, Adiyara Vakuriya. He includes Paragala Verdamakum, Paran Nari Pagan, Pasuvar, and Paravan, Salavadu, Erik, Mudimir, Avinda, Adana, Malar Nisayonu, Malum, Marayod, Thurkkai, Pariganapana, Palavan, Alaikadal, Mayor, Nalla Nalla, Avai Nalla Nalla, Adiyara Vakuriya. So he includes Salamagal, Ganda, Erik, Mudimir, Aninde, Ulame, Bumunda, Adana, Mahalakshmi, the one who sits on the lotus flower, Brahma, and Mal, Thirumal, Marayodu, all the Vedas, all the Devatan, Barakaram, Palabum, Alaikadal, the seas, and also huge mountains, Meru, Avai, Nalla Nalla, Adiyara, and he pacifies Thirugnanasambanthar, and they decide to go to Madurai. And they go to Madurai, and you heard
the important padikam that he sang, Gnanasambandhar sang, because he had to cure this Koon Pandiyan from that Vappu. And all he did was what Thirugnanasambanthar experienced, a little bit of Tirunur, sincerely, with that devotion, was sung. That is where he sang Mandira, which we sang as he took Thirugnanasambanthar circumambulatory. So then, the Koon Pandiyans, Vappu Nolki irundhathu, Sivan, Meendum, Maduraiyile Padaithathu. And then, there are so many miracles he did, so many stories. He goes to Mylapore. There, Sivanesa Chettiar had lost his daughter, and he had the ashes collected in a little urn. And he hadn't got over the grief, got over the sadness of having lost his daughter. And what he did was he came and kept the urn in front of Gnanasambandhar and said, I want my daughter back. And Gnanasambandhar was so taken up by his devotion and sincerity, he revived her. And true to any father who has got his daughter back, Sivanesa Chettiar wants Gnanasambandhar to marry her. And he says, no, it's not on. I'm like his father now. I have recreated him with the help of Lord, with the help of Lord Shiva, so I won't marry her. But you know what the parents are like, they don't let these people just, he was by then 16, so they arrange a marriage for him. He has to get married. So Sivapada Hirdir and Baba arrange a marriage, and they go to Navadurga, and the marriage is all arranged. And Gnanasambandhar and his wife are going round the holy fire that had been lit at the ceremony, at the wedding ceremony. And he then changes, he is so absorbed with Lord Shiva and the devotion, he says, no, this is not wrong. And what he does is, he then, with his bride, walks into the fire and merges with Lord Shiva. Not only does he merge, he takes with him the devotees, as well as three important people. Thirugnanasambanthar, who had conducted the ceremony, he is a Brahmin priest by background. Then Thirugnanasambanthar, who was playing the music, and Murugan. So today is actually the day to remember those nine as well as Gnanasambandhar. And this song was sung at the wedding.
Right.
really blind. I understand, but I don't want to get married. Thirumanam, Vendam, Kadumanam, Pallur Perumanam, after so many songs have been sung in so many shrines. Sollur Perumanam, Sudalade, we have worshipped you with all these beautiful hymns. Nallur Perumanam, May and Ambani. My Lord, you have received all this praise with so many songs in so many shrines, including Kadumanam, which is another name for Shri. And please, take us. And they joined Lord Shiva in that fire. And some of the chronological accounts actually add another padikam after that, where he sang Kadalahi Kasindu Kannir Malki, which is the final padikam he had sung. So he started with a cry for Lord Shiva, and then he speaks about Kadalahi Kasindu Kannir Malki. So, on the one hand, he spoke of the importance of Tamil, but there is a universal language for all of us. What is the universal language? We should cry. Nanam poi and nenjum poi and anum poi aanal vinayen aludal unai. Because he cried, didn't he, at the age of 3. And Lord Shiva and Umayamma came to him. And here he says, Kadalahi Kasindu Kannir Malki Oduvar Ai Nandarakku. So the important lesson for all of us is to focus our minds, concentrate on the Lord, and pray sincerely, and if at all possible, cry. Thank you.
பொதுவாக ஆசிரியர் ஒருவர் இருந்து குருவாக இருந்து ஒன்றை விளங்கப்படுத்திக் கொண்டிருக்கின்ற பொழுது கேட்டுக்கொண்டு இருப்பவர்கள் அமைதியாக இல்லாமல் ஒருவருக்கொருவர் கதைத்துக் கொண்டிருந்தால் அந்த ஆசிரியர் விளங்கப்படுத்துவதில் ஏதாவது ஒரு குறை இருக்கும் என்று அர்த்தம். ஆனால் இங்கே அவர் அதை விளங்கப்படுத்திக் கொண்டிருக்கின்ற பொழுதும் அனைவரும் அமைதியாக இருந்து அந்த வரலாற்றிலே லயித்து கேட்கின்ற பொழுது எவ்வளவு தூரம் அந்த வரலாற்று நிகழ்வுகளை நீங்கள் அனைவரும் உள்வாங்கி இருக்கிறீர்கள் என்பதை இந்த இடத்திலே தெரிந்து கொள்ளக்கூடியதாக இருக்கின்றது. நாயன்மார்களுடைய வரலாறுகளும் நிகழ்வுகள் அவர்களுடைய அற்புத நிகழ்வுகளும் பதிகங்களும் இன்றளவும் நிலைத்திருக்க ஏதாவது ஒரு காரணம் இருக்க வேண்டும். திருவருள் இவ்வளவு தூரம் இவ்வளவு காலத்துக்கு அந்த வரலாறுகளை அடியார்கள் தெரிந்து கொள்வதற்காக இன்றளவும் வெளிநாடுகளில் கூட அந்த செய்திகள் இருக்கின்றது என்றால் இறைவனுடைய திருவருள் கட்டாயம் இருக்க வேண்டும். ஏன் அப்படி இருக்கிறது என்று சிந்தித்தால் கூட அதில் இருக்கின்ற அற்புத நிகழ்வுகளிலே படிக்கப்படுகின்ற திருமுறை பாடல்களை அந்த பாடல்களால் ஏற்பட்ட அற்புதங்கள் இறைவனிடத்திலே நாங்கள் நல்ல அன்பு வைத்திருந்து அவரை சரணடைந்து அந்த பதிகங்களை திருநீற்று பதிகங்கள் எல்லாம் இருக்கின்றன. அந்த பதிகங்களை எல்லாம் கையிலே விபூதியை வைத்துக்கொண்டு அந்த பதிகங்களை அன்புடன் இறைவன் இணைந்து பாடி ஒருவருக்கு நோய் ஏற்பட்டிருந்தால் அதை கொடுக்கின்ற பொழுது நாங்கள் வைத்திருக்கின்ற அன்பின் இறைவன் மீது வைத்திருக்கின்ற நம்பிக்கையின் அளவிலே அவருக்கு அந்த வியாதி நீங்கிவிடும். அந்த வரலாற்று அற்புத பதிகங்களிலே இருக்கின்ற இவ்வளவு காலம் அந்த பதிகங்கள் நிலைத்திருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னதற்கு காரணம் இதுவாகத்தான் இருக்க முடியும். ஆகவே இந்த பதிகங்களிலே இருக்கின்ற சிறப்புகள் இறந்தவரை உயிர் பெறச் செய்வது, நோயற்றவர்களை நோயிலிருந்து பிணியிலே இருந்து விடுவிப்பது, இதுகளெல்லாம் இந்த பதிகங்களிலே நிரம்பி இருக்கின்றன என்பதோடு ஈழத்திலே நாங்கள் இருக்கின்ற பொழுதும் இந்த பதிகங்கள் எங்களுக்கு தெரிந்திருந்தாலும் அதிலே கூறப்பட்டிருக்கின்ற ஆலயங்கள் சீராலையாக இருக்கலாம் அல்லது பதிகங்களிலே சொல்லப்படுகின்ற திருவாவடுதுறையாக இருக்கலாம், இந்த சிவன் தலங்களாக இருந்தாலும் அந்த தலங்களை கேள்விப்பட்டதுடன் சரி ஓரிடவு நடுத்தர குடும்பத்தைச் சேர்ந்தவர் ஒரு தடவை அவர்களுடைய வாழ்க்கையிலே இந்தியா சென்று அந்த தலங்களை பார்த்து விட்டவர்களா. பெரும்பான்மையானவர்கள் அந்த தலங்களுக்கு போக முடியாத இருந்தது. அப்போ நாங்கள் ஈழத்தில் இருக்கின்ற பொழுது அங்கே இருக்கிற சிவன் கோவிலை பார்த்து இறைபக்தி மேலிட்டிருந்தால் இந்த சீர்காழி வழியாக இருக்கும், இந்த சிவன் கோவில் பண்டை வைத்தீஸ்வரன் கோயிலை போல் இருக்கும் அல்லது ஈழத்து சிதம்பரம் போல இருக்கும் என்ற எண்ணத்தை அங்கே நாங்கள் எண்ணிக்கொள்வோம். இன்றைய தினம் ஞானசம்பந்தராக வந்த ஸ்ரீதரையாருடைய மகன் ஞானசம்பந்தரை நினைவூட்டியது போல இப்படித்தான் இருந்திருப்பார் ஞானசம்பந்தர். அந்த எண்ணத்தை எங்களுக்கு அங்கே இலங்கை ஈழத்திலே வந்திருக்கும். ஆனால் வெளிநாடுகளிலே இருப்பதினாலே அந்த பதிகங்களிலே படிக்கப்படுகின்ற பாடல்கள் பெற்ற தலங்கள் அற்புதம் நடந்த இடங்கள் எல்லாம் சென்று பார்த்து வந்து அதிலே இன்னும் ஈடுபாடு கூடவாக இருந்து அதை கேட்கக்கூடியதாக இருக்கின்றது. அது கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 50-60 வயசுக்கு பிறகுதான் இது வாய்க்கக்கூடியதாக அதிகமாக அமைந்திருக்கின்றது. என்றாலும் இறைவனுடைய திருவருள் அனைவருக்கும் இந்த நேரத்திலே இந்த பதிகங்கள் மூலமாகவும் வரலாறுகளை திரும்ப திரும்ப கேட்பதனாலாகவும் மென்மேலும் எங்களுக்கு இறைவனுடைய திருவருள் கிடைக்க பிரார்த்தித்து இறைவனுடைய பார்வையிலே குலம் கோத்திரம் ஏழை பணக்காரன் என்கின்ற வித்தியாசம் கிடையாது என்பதை நாயன்மார்களுடைய முக்கிய வயதுகளிலே நாங்கள் தெரிந்து கொள்ளலாம். குழந்தையாக இருந்தாலும் சரி, வயதானவராக இருந்தாலும் சரி, ஆன்மா பக்குவப்படுகின்ற பொழுது இறைவனுடைய பாதாத்தை சென்றடைய முடியும் என்பதை நாங்கள் இந்த வரலாறுகள் மூலமாக தெரிந்து கொள்கின்றோம் என்பதை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு வருகின்ற 21ஆம் தேதி மாணிக்கவாசருடைய குரு பூசை அன்றைய தினமும் இன்றைய போல நிகழ்வுகள் இடம்பெறும் என்பதனையும் இன்றைய தினம் இங்கே ஞானசம்பந்தருடைய வரலாற்றையும் அவருடைய நிகழ்வுகளையும் பதிவு செய்த எங்களுடைய அன்புக்குரிய கலாநிதி சிவகுமாரன் அவர்களுக்கும் எங்களுடைய ஆலயத்தின் சார்பாக நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு தொடர்ந்து அமைகின்றோம். பார்வதி